This should be our last of this session of graphs of sine and cosine. I think we've spent way too much time already on it. I think you've spent so much. There's so many other things we can put our time into. But I think by going through this, you should get at least the basic idea of what sine and cosine look like, kind of where they start. Of course, you got to know more than that to pass a test. But we all know that we learn stuff long enough to pass a test, and a lot of times we just lose that info. So we want to make sure that at least we keep some of the basic shapes, parent functions, things like that. But let's travel on. This is pretty much this should be like the last game in your homework. This should be. And it tells you to write an equation for a function with given characteristics. So what happens is you're given all the characteristics as to what's going on, and you got to come up with the equation. Just making you go backwards, right? Making you have to think forward and backwards, just trying to get your brain all like exercised and massaged out to where it's like, all right, I moved all the different directions, now I kind of can see what's happening. So let's look. It says it's a cosine curve with a period of pi over 2. Now, I'm just writing shit down. Period is pi over 2. Dope. An amplitude of 5. Amplitude of 5. A left phase shift of pi over 6. Now, I'm glad I went through and looked at your homework, because I would have never used a term like this, a left phase shift. And that's just saying it's a negative phase shift, that your x value is going to the left, so x is going to be negative something. So that means it's going to be negative pi over 6 is your phase shift. Unfortunate, but that's how shit works out sometimes. It just says it's a left phase, so if it's a right phase shift, it would be positive. That just happens to be how your homework and your text speaks on it. All right, and lastly, and you have a vertical translation down 3 units, which means that your d is equal to -3. Cool, we have all the information we need. Now we just need to go to our general formula for it and then figure out what we got. Let's write it green. Let's say y is equal to, what is it, d plus, and I don't know why your text writes it like this. Why wouldn't you just go in order? A times cosine of bx minus c plus d. You know what I mean? A, B, C, D. Why your text puts that shit backwards all the time? Why I capitalize my D? All right. I actually typically use capital letters when I teach it, but your book's not, so let's not. Well, cool, let's fill in what we got. Y is equal to, like, we can put A in. So it doesn't say whether the amplitude, which direction it goes, but it's just asking for an equation, not the equation. Like, all right, slap that 5 in there. 5 times. Cool, we write in our cosine. And now we have to find our bx minus c, and that's the pain in the ass. Right here, this is the pain. So we'll wait to get that one. And let's just handle our d, right? So we're going to put in our d. So instead of putting in plus d, we'll put in our -3. Bang, well, we got part of it. 5 times cosine of, and it could be -5 times cosine. Couldn't get that shit wrong. Could be -5. But now we need to go find that the b and the c. But I think we got enough information for this. We got it. Well, what does bx, well, hold on, let's start with the period, right? We got the period. Oh, I think this might help us out. This might get us a variable or something. So what's the period equal to? What's that formula? Isn't that thing equal to 2 pi over b? So why don't we just solve for b? Let's set that up. So pi over 2 is equal to 2 pi over b. Remember cross multiplication? You remember that shit, don't you? Come on, you remember that. Real quick, that we kind of do this, cross multiplication across an equal sign. So we can say pi times b is equal to 2 times 2 pi, so 4 pi. And then let's divide by pi on both sides. So what's b equal? All day long, buddy. All day long. There's b. There's b. So just setting the period equal to 2 pi b and solving for b, you just all of a sudden got your b value. Oh shoot, now we gotta go get c. Now we gotta go get c. Oh Lord, how are we gonna get this? Well, you're gonna look at your formulas and go, bruh, what's going on? The phase shift. That's just c over b. That's just c over b. So let's go up and be like, all right, let's solve this thing. I'm going to take that out. Let's go. Negative pi over 6 is equal to c over p. But we already know b. It's equal to 4. Oh, cool. Oh, so all we have to do is multiply both sides by, I think, 4, and we should get our solution, because that's just going to cancel. So we get negative 4 pi over 6 is equal to c. Well, let's clean that up and call that negative 2 pi over 3. So let's put in negative 2 pi over 3. So this little symbol is going to have to come up, and it's going to change its sign to a positive. And then we write in our 2 pi over 3. That's how you play that game. It's knowing your formulas, being able to tie them together. And that is not the only way of solving this. There's many other ways of being able to go and logic this out. This is just the way that popped into my head. I looked at it and went, hey, let's go this direction. So I think starting with the period to get B, and then rolling into your phase shift. And I think it just helps you to figure out what's going on, how things should be positive and negative. So watch your signs. That's probably going to be the biggest error once you grasp it. Just be careful with it. So that's the end. We'll be back. Sorry this was much longer than I intended it to be, but there's so many little things to talk about. Tangent, cotangent, I don't go very deep into it, but cosecant and secant, you'll see it.